Another story that I love to tell is that when I was working in Senegal, which is in West Africa, in the Sahel Desert. And the Sahel is a desert that has almost pink sand. It's fine. It's almost like talcum powder. And when you're in the Sahel, there's not a blade of grass. Every once in maybe 10 kilometers, you see one baobab tree. There's really no vegetation. But somehow people are living there. And we were on our way to a series of villages that were about 6 or 7 kilometers apart, 10 of them that were facing starvation, because there has been, even in the Sahel, which sounds like there's never any water, there's even droughts in the desert, and there was a very extreme drought in the Sahel. And when we arrived at the very first village, where we had the opportunity, a group of Hunger Project donors, actually, almost all women and I, there was a group of men sitting in a circle under the baobab tree, which was where they met. And this was a Muslim village, so it was very important that the men were seen to be the guys who were in charge and the women were, you know, out of the picture. But because I was from the United States, I was treated like a man, so I was allowed to sit in a circle. And my translator was a man, and so he and I sat in the circle, and this is on the sand now, if you can picture this, in a circle of about 17 men. And as we're having this conversation about the drought and what to do about the drought, I feel a presence behind me. And at one point when I pretended to look at my watch or rearrange my clothes or something, I turned around and I saw this woman who was sitting in the sand. All the women were sitting behind me, kind of. But one of them was kind of inching up. You know, she was like this. And I sort of moved over a little bit and then over a little bit. And pretty soon, she was sitting next to me. First time ever in this village, a Senegalese woman was sitting in the circle with the very proud Muslim men. And she was sitting next to me. And there came a point in the conversation where I had enough clout and authority that I asked if the men would allow her to speak. And so she did. And what she said was, "We know that there's water. We, the women, know that there's water underneath this desert. We know where it is. We've dreamed of it. We can feel it. We know it's there. And we want to dig a well to get at it. There's an underground lake. We've seen it in our dreams. We want to get at it." Now, the men, they weren't so big on women having anything to say, number one, and certainly not something so kind of groundbreaking. And so, groundbreaking. Oh, that's good. That was good. But anyway, in that culture, women did the farming, women did kind of everything that was hard, and the men did a lot of talking. But women were not allowed to dig, so all graves were dug by men. You know, they weren't allowed to dig. That was out of the question. But because, I don't know, it was the moment, it was an idea, time has come, they were so desperate, and I was there, and I was totally for this amazing, courageous young woman who had inched her way into the circle. I said, well, would you men give the women permission to try? And the Hunger Project, my organization, will give them buckets, and we'll give them shovels, and we'll give them the simple equipment that they're asking for to go for it, and give them 2 months to find the underground lake. And after much deliberation and all kinds of stuff that I won't talk about because it takes too long, they finally said yes. And the meeting we had the next day, then there was just like, I don't know how many women behind me, and they're inching up. And I move off to the side, and another woman gets in the circle. I move out to the side, another woman gets it. Then the men start moving back, and the women joined the circle. And we made a plan. And to get to the happy ending, they found the lake. It was a huge underground lake. They dug for 2 months. The men did nothing. The women did everything. And it saved the lives of 75,000 people who were near starvation in 10 villages in Senegal.